Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Never Take It from 21 Pilots and their album Scaled and Icy. I'm musically malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music, and boy, is there a lot here. So let's get in, take a look. Okie dokie. In short, this song could be taken as a critique about the intentional divisiveness and toxicity of modern media. Media corporations profit off of people's disagreements over politics, religion, sexuality, the 2020 pandemic, etc. They, the media, profit from a great divide, quoting the song. Information is just a currency and nothing more to the media. The media keeps the truth in quotations that are too short to tell the whole world story, and that causes more cultural divisiveness. Oh my goodness, dude. We thought it was annoying to get clickbait on YouTube when the media embraced that culture. Not that they haven't always to some extent, but the, what's the word? Like when you're trying to elicit a response, like an extreme response from people. And I'm not talking about satire. Like I think stuff like the Babylon Bee is really funny. Unfortunately, there are some people that just don't understand satire, but I think satire is necessary. And so extreme titles for satire or things like that are fine. But when you're trying to be a source of factual information, nonpartisan, playing off of extremes is so disgusting. So even that idea, yeah, it's really powerful. Keeps truth in quotations. This is definitely one of the more poignant and I think impressive songs from Tyler, because he really just poses things that are that I think most of us can agree upon, even if we don't agree upon like which way we go with certain topics. The sense of the just like ridiculous nature of media as a whole and what should be truth-telling organizations. I think this song is really incredible. The chorus is a wise reminder to not believe what you see on TV and not to take whatever brand of world image the media you consume is trying to push on you. Don't take the sweet, short, tasty, and convenient opinions. Do the work, formulate your own beliefs. The bridge near the end is Tyler's personal example of not watching too much media during the COVID-19 pandemic for his own mental health. He distracted himself in a healthy way by learning to play the guitar. The song could also be reflective of the culture within the city of Dima and the story of Trench. From what I can see, there's not conclusive proof of this from the lyrics alone. Yeah, I mean, even if it's not giving like a lore dump, I still think it's trying to communicate these are methods that Dima uses to subdue people, to sway opinion toward their own, not so that the people can be better, but so they can remain in power, which is the whole nature of propaganda. All right. Now that they know information is just a currency and nothing more, keep the truths in quotations because they keep lying through their fake teeth. They're trying hard to weaponize you and I. We'll never take it. Yeah, it is a call to rebel against those things, right? And if you again take it into the lore, that's really what the Banditos are doing. They recognize that the bishops, and that's the kind of whole beginning for Clancy, is just the starting to sense something's odd here, something's off here. There's more. Recognizing that Nico and the Niners are lying through these. And fake teeth, I think, is also pushing this like very polished image, right? Because in even veneers, and I think veneers are fine if you have, issues with your teeth or like health issues with your teeth, or, you want to get things done to help your teeth look fine, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't know if you've ever seen like the really poorly done veneers or the ones that are just so white and straight. You're like, that doesn't look like it's from a human. I think that's probably what he's speaking to. People on the news, people in media with these fake appearances, these veneers that are just spewing lies, but it's coming through like a pretty mouth. People in power, echoing what user 2 Cent Short explains in the song bio. These lines explore how the media often treads the line between fact and fiction, keeping the truth in quotation since they know that misinformation causes more clicks, more views, more engagement, ultimately makes the companies richer, no matter how it hurts the public. The skirting of the truth is often weaponized, causing the divide between people, garnering more profit, which is explored in later lines in the song. Oh, it's so disgusting. The song was written during the COVID-19 pandemic, in which a lot of misinformation was being spread by the media, which was worsened by social media, causing mistrust in our medical professionals and even causing physical harm to people. Tyler has been vocal about certain grievances of our capitalistic society in previous songs. In Lane Boy, in the industry, it seems to me that singles on the radio are currency. Once again, he expresses his refusal to participate in this industry by going against the grain and standing up for what he believes in, that being educating himself and not participating in the discourse. He sings alongside his audience, empowering, "You and I will never take it." They're asking for a second try. "You and I will never take it." We're like, no, you lose. Which really in many ways they have. That's why independent media is the media now, at least for a new generation. Why cure disease of confusion when you're the treatment facility? Oh man, this annotation is going to be lit. But it is, I talked about it for a second in the React, or maybe in the, I think in the React. It is the idea that, not trying to get into any kind of deep conspiracy theories, but in some ways, prescription medication, that there are doctors or health professionals that really are not as interested in helping you find a cure, because sometimes it takes a deeper work and it's not as profitable as just prescribing you medication. Because you can get people in and out, in and out, in and out. Just take this medicine. Okay, now we're going to give you this medicine, but then we got to regulate that medicine, but then we got to add a medicine to regulate the two medicines. And you end up making a very sick person, and it doesn't just stick with their body. It gets into their mind and their heart. But why cure you? If I can keep you sick, it's like recurring income. And that's... oh man, that makes me emotional, dude. I don't know that there are many things more disgusting than taking advantage of people in vulnerable situations. Doesn't matter if it's, an orphan or an elderly person or somebody who's sick and just wants to be better. But that idea, even within the war industry, like war is profitable. So why care so much about peace when there are so many parties who don't give a crap about the repercussions of their actions? They just want to feed the machine because the machine feeds them. And I think, man, it's so disgusting. This line critiques the media by pointing out media has no reason to clear up people's confusion because people will continue to come to the media for answers as long as they are confused. The media profits from people keeping people confused. I spit on you. How can we seek restitution when they keep lying through their fake teeth? Yeah. Like, how are we going to restore this if you just keep lying? The summer I watched the tube, I saw enough. So spending the summer like watching a lot of TV, a lot of social media, taught myself to play guitar, tearing it up. And my advice on those two things that I picked up, you better educate yourself, but never too much. So obviously he's advocating for not, yes, educating yourself on the issues or the things that you are reading about. It takes every bit of restraint within me on platforms, especially like Facebook, where, and not in a degrading way, but the boomer generation is primarily on Facebook and just reshare stories in a heartbeat. And I just see headlines or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And I do like a simple Google search only to find out that either a story was really swayed in one direction or completely false altogether, especially on the with the rise of AI. It's disheartening sometimes, to see the things that people share so quickly as if it's fact, and they let it like turn into animosity or sow discord when it's not even true. It's like a person that gossips and slanders another person, that you can form an opinion about somebody that you've never spoken to yourself. You've never heard from their mouth. You've never listened to them explain it. You've just heard it from somebody else or a clip taken out of context. And it's like, hey, it might be true. That person might really suck. But go see for yourself. And honestly, it reminds me of like when K-pop Demon Hunters came out. You guys know that I'm a Christian, or you may not if you're new to the channel. I love Jesus with all my heart. He has transformed my life. I love his word. He's everything to me. But one of the things that really exists in the Christian community, and that is a large community, a lot of different beliefs about certain things. A lot of the times, a unity in like who Jesus is and things like that, but a lot of interpretation around things. You've got extreme sects, SECTS, that think you shouldn't wear blue jeans to a Sunday service or something like that. I think that's absolutely wild. Okay, shut up with that. But then you also have stuff like, I remember even with Pokemon, when Pokemon was making a resurgence. It was really big when I was a kid, and then made a resurgence probably 10 years ago. And I was doing some Pokemon cards, and I was a youth pastor, and somebody sat me down and was like, hey, a parent's really concerned that you were talking about Pokemon cards. And he sent me some article about this guy who was saying like, in my village, we worship these demons, and I saw these Pokemon cards, and they look like the demons from our village, and their attacks are like scratch, confuse, and that's what they do. They scratch you at night, and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that might be true. You might have these like demonic figures and things, but dude, it's Pokemon. It's Pikachu. Pika, pika, pika. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of other Pokemon noises. Ghastly. Scyther. And so it was like, hey, we really don't want you to do that. I was like, okay, like I'll respect what you're saying. I think it's crazy that you're saying that. If you really watch Pokemon, it's all about friendship and pushing through adversity and, bravery and all of these wonderful things. But the same thing was K-pop Demon Hunters. It came out and people were like, demons? This is a terrible movie for kids. And I kind of heard that, being the person that I am, to not just take it for what it was. I was like, well, my kids were interested, so I watched it. I actually have a movie channel that I haven't given a lot of attention to lately because I've been really focused on this channel. It's called Young and Reel, REEL. But I have a reaction over there to K-pop Demon Hunters. And I watched it and I was like, this is a great movie. The music slaps. It's a lot of fun. It's incredibly well made. The animation is very detailed and fun, and the message within it is really good. And so, anyways, I'm way off here in left field. But I think it's that same thing as like, yeah, educate yourself. Like, do the digging on your own. Stop. Even my kids, man, my kids will come home with and spout off opinions that they heard repeated from friends. And I'm like, well, tell me what you know about that. And they're like, well, I don't really know much about it. I was like, okay, let's make sure we're not just repeating what you heard from somebody else. Let's try to at least make sure we understand ourselves. So then to go on with him saying, educate yourself, but never too much. And we'll see if it says anything further about that. I think what he's saying is there is a point of over-education that turns into indoctrination, and you stop thinking for yourself because you've been educated into a system, if that makes sense. And you can see that a lot with the universities. People go off to universities and get educated, but eventually that just turns into this like really indoctrinated, strange way of thinking. This may be a critique of modern temperament that critiques both ignorance and independent research when either of these states place a person in conflict with sacrosanct cultural precepts. Yeah, okay, I could see that too. That if you do too much independent research, you may not have a full picture. The pandemic revealed the cognitive dissonance in Western society in stark clarity. This interpretation is supported by the themes throughout the song critiquing the divisiveness of modern political rhetoric. Similarly, this may also be a reminder to not inundate one's mind with the negativity of the modern news cycle because of the impact that may have on one's mental health, for sure. This interpretation is supported by the previous lyric in this bridge, which suggests Tyler saw enough miserable news and turned his attention instead to learning guitar. Tyler Joseph said in an interview with Hype, scaled and icing is abbreviation for scaled back and isolated. Adding the word scaled and icy actually stands for scaled back and isolated, which is kind of how we all found ourselves this past year. Whoa, sorry, gross. Excuse me. This past year, scaled back and isolated. This confirms that the album's themes are best understood in light of the 2020-19 pandemic, which saw much of the world required to socially distance, some cases isolate, prevent the spread of the virus for nearly a year and a half. The two things Tyler may have picked up were his new guitar skills and the insight he shares in this line. Okay. Yep, and then it kind of closes out. So, like I said, man, I think this is one of Tyler's best pieces of writing because it really is not telling you necessarily how to think. He's just making suggestions, and even from his own life, and he is sharing some truths for sure. But even the amount of conversation within this video that it brings up, I think shows just how brilliant the writing is in it. So loved this one. Great message. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you saw anything that I didn't see, we'll have a conversation there. Thanks for being with me for this one. Hope to see you in the next one, because we're eating good.